It's 2 minutes to 4 p.m. on Friday, the 14th of September, 2018. This is Swoop Freestyle for the first time outside of Copenhagen. We are here in the United States of America, sunny Southern California in San Diego, and we've got 2 days of intense live canopy piloting swoop action coming your way. I'm international air sports presenter Regan Tetlow, and I'm joined, as always, in the studio by Swoop canopy piloting expert Andy Malchiodi. Andy, a very good afternoon here on your home turf.
Good afternoon to you, Regan. It's great to be here with you once again, this time in my part of the world.
Does it seem like 2 minutes ago we were bringing the first part of the action from Copenhagen, and now we have the finals here in San Diego, Andy?
Plenty of storylines coming out of Copenhagen, Regan, and they are sure to unfold further here in San Diego.
Let's have a look at who is lined up for us coming here this afternoon. Our 17 athletes from South Africa, CHRIS. From Argentina, Franco DARMAN. From Italy, Armando Fataruso. Denmark, Timmy Thompson. From Chile, Roberto Hernandez. And from Australia, Miles COTTMAN. Jeannie Bartholomew, United States. Ian Bobo, United States. And New Zealand, Chris Stewart. Also from Italy, Mario Fataruso. From Spain, Pablo Hernandez. And from France, R.HER MARQUET. Cornelia MIHAI from the UAE. Travis Mills, the winner in Copenhagen from the United States, and Christian Weber from Denmark. We've also got from Venezuela, Claudio Cagnasso from the United States, CURT Bartholomew, and not competing this time, Nick Batch, due to injury, would have been our final 18th athlete. Andy, we are down to 17 athletes for this championships. We've got this brand new location, this beautiful spot. Just tell people just about exactly where we are in the United States.
We are in Embarcadero Park in downtown San Diego in this beautiful venue with the Coronado Bridge in the background. It's going to be a new set of challenges for the competitors this time around. Can't wait to see how they handle it.
We're going to have a look at the championship scoreboard and you'll see how it stands since we finished in Copenhagen. You can see there in 5th place, Claudio Cagnasso taking 7 points. In 4th place, Argentina, Franco DARMAN, 9 points. 3rd place, Christian Weber from Denmark takes the 11 points. 2nd place, after that dramatic final, Pablo Hernandez from Spain with the 14 points. And taking the maximum, United States, 18 points, goes to Travis Mills. Andy, what an incredible final it was 2 weeks ago in Copenhagen.
Indeed, Regan. Claudio Cagnasso pulling off the highest scoring round, yet not quite enough to overtake Travis Mills for not even the podium, much less the #1 spot. A little bit surprising. You can count on the competitors adjusting their technique after they see how it's been judged for this competition in San Diego.
We're going to have a look at just how Swoop Freestyle works. We've got a graphic for you. Let's check it out and have a look right now. And it all began in 2014 in Copenhagen, the dream of George and Michael to bring swooping into city centres worldwide. We started in Copenhagen that year, 2015, 16, 17, and this year, 2018, with that incredible championships broadcast out.
The American skydivers are super excited to be hosting this event, the first international foray out of Denmark for Swoop Freestyle. We look forward to a long relationship with this event year after year.
We're going to be starting with Roberto Hernandez, and he's got a cowboy Superman for us. And yeah, let's have a talk a little bit about what we want to see there.
Cowboy Superman, Regan, not a trick that will rank very highly on the difficulty. However, the two tricks separate themselves very nicely, and that's something the judges have stressed. That's something they're looking for. They would prefer to see a very distinct difference between trick 1 and trick 2, as opposed to a trick that has a hybridization component to it, or where you can't quite tell one trick from another.
Like we saw in the video, is where it all begins. 10% of the marks available there. Then those two tricks on the water, 30% for the first trick available, 30% for the second trick available, and then all exclusive landing on the raft. If I'm correct, in the finals in Copenhagen, we opened with Chris Teague from South Africa, who stuck it down right in the middle of the pontoon. The crowd went absolutely wild.
Chris Teague set the bar nicely high for everyone else. As a newcomer to the competition, he couldn't have been happier with that. He was looking to gain consistency. The rest of the competition, he's going to be looking to
So here we are about the location of this part of San Diego, here in the port of San Diego. Just tell us a little bit about where we are, geography-wise.
So here we are right behind the San Diego Convention Center, extremely popular destination for conferences of all kinds. We have the Coronado Bridge in the background leading to the beautiful Coronado Island and the biggest military airport on the West Coast. It is a very, very populated area, a very urban area, and the perfect home for Swoop Freestyle in America.
The port of San Diego, they bring 70 productions per year into this area, and it brings millions of visitors. We're hoping to add to those numbers here today and tomorrow. We can see just outside the studio, Andy, on this grassed up area, people are starting to arrive, the crowd is starting to fill up. Beautiful location with the weather as well. A bit of a challenge we had in Copenhagen with the weather. The last event a couple of weeks ago, we were dodging in and out of the rain. I don't think that's going to be a problem for us today.
Regan, the rain will not be a problem here in sunny San Diego. That is certain. However, the wind, as light as it is coming through these trees. These competitors will have a challenge on their hands where they're managing the winds up top, and those winds will change as soon as they drop below the tops of the trees. It'll be very interesting to see how their canopies respond and what they do as a result.
Another difference on the here, we've got to see and be getting waves and movement. You can see in that shot there, the buoys just moving around on the top of the water.
Indeed, Regan, obviously a huge difference into the salt water of San Diego Bay. They are going to have to be dealing with wakes put up by boats that are traveling through the cut. Now, there is a barrier about 84 meters out from the A gates where no boats are allowed to go. However, waves don't care about barriers, Regan. Those little wakes are going to come in, and if you are a competitor that is unfortunate enough to have to deal with those wakes, it will be a disadvantage. We'll have to see how they handle it.
Copenhagen Swoop Freestyle, obviously with the Queen Elizabeth Bridge as a backdrop here. This Coronado Bridge, tell us a little bit about this. That's a big bridge, Andy, we've got going on there.
A large bridge spanning downtown San Diego all the way to Coronado Island, an iconic San Diego landmark. It's lovely to be here in proximity to it.
And we're just in our vision, again, just outside the studio. We've just got a peek of the Midway, that aircraft carrier, that big tourist attraction, an incredible piece of machinery. We've been past that a few times over the last couple of days, me and Andy. But it is time to get on with the competition here. Roberto Hernandez will be starting us off, 26 years of age, hometown, Huxariba, and his first jump in 2008. We got Roberto with the Roberto Hernandez with the Cowboy Superman, Andy.
Cowboy Superman, as we spoke about before, Regan, a nice trick to draw distinction between trick 1 and trick 2, where the judges are certainly looking for that. Not going to be terribly high on the difficulty rating, but it seems that the judges are valuing smoothness and fluidity over much else.
So we're looking for that start of the action zone. We're looking for that beginning of the approach. That's where those 10% of the marks are going to come from. Then this cowboy getting his hand down in the water, Andy, looking for 30% of the marks there. Then this Superman leaning as far forward as possible, getting himself flat and down, close to the water. How's the conditions out there? We're looking quite calm, I think, right now, Andy.
Roberto should luck out here, not having to deal with any sort of wakes from any sort of watercraft, but that could change at any moment, especially going into tomorrow. As word spreads about the awesomeness of this event, you can bet boats are going to pull up to want to get a closer look.
Another difference as well here, Andy, compared to Copenhagen, is the logistics of getting these pilots into the sky. We've got the helicopter pad just behind the studio. They don't have to get across town.
Indeed, that's nice for the competitors. They're going to be under a little bit less stress to get to where they need to be on time for their second round, and we'll have additional time to interact with all the spectators.
Here comes the approach, Roberto Hernandez. Looking for the cowboy, didn't quite get contact with the water with the cowboy, Andy.
In putting him that far deep, but clearly did not get the hand in the water for the cowboy. Near the pontoon, so he'll miss out on that component, but gotta crack some eggs to make an omelet, Regan, and he's the first one to go. Not a bad looking run. Indeed,
true as well. And another difference again, reverting back to Copenhagen. This is the first time we've had pilots competing in this location. It's getting that set up, Andy, getting yourself to the right part of the sky at the right height. This is a learning curve.
As you mentioned, Regan, with the proximity to the takeoff zone, all the competitors will be able to see all the runs of the other competitors. So you can bet competitors on the ground were paying close attention to that and will adjust their patterns accordingly.
That's another very good point, actually. In Copenhagen, they've been watching the action on the monitors, but here, they're actually stood on the corner of this banking. They're actually seeing and feeling what's going on.
They can see more or less what we can see, and you can be sure that they will be making adjustments in real time.
We can see the scores now. We've got our first score on the board, 3.5.41 for Roberto Hernandez. And our next competitor through the course. Bartholomew comes through for her first run in the practice. She nails it on to the pontoon with a Lazy Boy switchblade.
Regan, a Lazy Boy switchblade, clearly Jeannie paying attention to Roberto's approach and perhaps making an adjustment in real time to end up on the pontoon in round one, something that was elusive for her in Copenhagen. She's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, let's keep our eyes on Jeannie now as she responds to that. Let's get the shot with her. We don't want to be in the studio just yet now. We want to see just how she feels and how she responds to that landing. She was jumping up and down and loving that action. Jeannie Bartholomew there through the course with her Lazy Boy Switchblade 2.08 multiplier for the first trick, 2.18 multiplier available for the second trick. I can tell you that Roberto Hernandez came through with his score. Just trying to get that on the screen for us now to tell you what he got. Just wait to see what Jeannie came through with as well. Ariel Markel is going to be next.
Ariel also looking for the Cowboy Superman, much like Roberto was in round one. So we will see if he will have any more success. He will be taking a straight-on approach. Roberto was meant to have taken a straight-on approach. I think he opted to carve it from the left instead. It'll be interesting to see how many competitors opt to utilize that slingshot effect from taking a left carve into the course based on the crosswind that exists. There are very few competitors looking to carve in from the right, because doing so would greet you with a headwind in the middle of your turn, which you would like to avoid. Most competitors opting to come in from the left, utilizing that slingshot downwind effect before they go into their trick.
Let's have a look at the scores we've got right now. So we can see Jeannie Bartholomew. Oh, we just lost. There it is. It's back on the screen. 59.84, taking the highest score so far. Roberto Hernandez with 35.41.
About what you'd expect, Regan, with what we've seen so far. Certainly, there were a lot of comments made to the judges. Swoop Freestyle being one of the rare sports that these competitors have direct access to these judges, direct communication with these judges. They work together to create a better system, a fairer system, and most importantly, a system that everyone can understand. Both in the debrief in Copenhagen and in the briefing here in San Diego, the judges made clear what they like to see and what is going to score well and what might not score so well. So these scores coming out for both Roberto and for Jeannie, not surprised to see. I think it's about appropriate, and it'll be curious to see if the judges can hit that tone of consistency throughout the entire event.
Waiting now for R.HER Marquet from France. As we can see there, the first scores are in. 35.41, Roberto Hernandez and Jeannie Bartholomew setting a great standard. 59.84 for Jeannie.
I think all these competitors, Regan, who have opted on their action sheet to take a straight-in approach will probably switch that, if I had to guess. I would think many, if not all, will opt for a left-hand carving approach, looking to utilize that downwind slingshot before they carve into the course, being greeted by that crosswind.
R.HER Marquet, we're looking for a Cowboy Superman. I'm even just looking at the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first 7 people through. We've got 5 of them with their first trick as the Cowboy.
Cowboy being a nice middle ground, not the hardest, not the easiest, and blends. It allows distinction to most of the
After R.HER, we'll have the first of our Italians, Mario Fatuso, and then Cornelia MIHAI, UAE. We've got this ferry as well, it's going to be paying us a little visit every now and again. It's just going to slow down the action a little touch. We've got Irish as well out there on them seeing what we've got. Just telling people what you can see outside the studio, Andy. We've got the big court, the little village there, the vendors village with the food available, and the stage as well. We've got some great acts coming our way in the next couple of days.
Regan, of course, the food truck culture alive and well here in San Diego. We are fortunate enough to have a number of different delicious food trucks serving our culinary needs here at Swoop Freestyle, along with the musicians capitalizing on all the culture here in San Diego. Oh, as R.HER Marquet overshoots.
So he's right through there, R.HER with R.HER Marquet. That's not Mario Fatuso. Do apologize. We've got the wrong person on the screen there for you. R.HER Marquet from France.
You get the impression, Regan, that R.HER saw Roberto's run and just overcorrected. Definitely setting up a little too tight, leading him to completely overshoot the pontoon.
We were looking for the Cowboy Superman from R.HER. As you know, these cowboys wants to be getting that hand down into the water, and then the Superman leaning forward, getting low down to the water. Contact. Great job from our rescue crews here, getting the canopy pilots out of the water and back to dry land.
Mario Fatuso will be up next. Again, we will see a Cowboy as the first trick, a Lazy Boy into the second. Deceivingly technical, Regan, as the Cowboy tends to lean your weight neutral, even maybe a little further back, and then the Lazy Boy also further back, regaining the control with your offhand from the Cowboy to the Lazy Boy, deceivingly difficult.
We're going to look at the scores when we get that through from R.HER and see what he's got to give us there. At the moment, we don't have a score for him. Mario Fataruso will be next for the Cowboy Lazy Boy. Again, get that hand down into the water. And like we saw with the Superman, getting low and down close to the water forward, the Lazy Boy leaning back, getting those feet out, getting the legs straight, head back, looking behind him at the canopy, Andy.
Yeah, the Cowboy can be so low, so easy to hip check, so easy to drop your butt into the water. And once that happens, difficult to recover, difficult to regain that control, and then extend the body for the Lazy Boy. So again, I hope he gets credit if it looks good, Regan, because it's deceivingly difficult, but like any sport, these athletes, when they do it well, they make it look easy.
It's the big logistical challenge to up sticks from Europe and bring the whole circus here to San Diego. It's been a year in the planning, and we are here with you now. We'll get the score of R.HER Marquet from France on the screen as soon as we have that. We're just waiting for the judges' result on that. But at the moment, I can tell you next is going to be Mario Fataruso from Italy. Beginning his turn now, starting winding up that parachute. The Italian comes with a taxi forward. Here comes his approach, Andy. Cowboy Lazy Boy.
Wow. Regan, Mario Fataruso calling an audible mid-landing. What we just saw there was a pretty decent-looking Cowboy. My concern played out a little bit in regaining the second control, pops himself into the air, losing water contact, so of course will not receive good scores on the second trip. However, putting himself in the air gave him a small window of opportunity to essentially reduce collapse of the canopy, reduce an aerodynamic stall in that canopy, to put him down directly onto the raft. Seeing as it's not that wet yet, his momentum did not carry him off the end. A brilliant strategy to try to capitalize on the scores available for that final landing.
Might have paid off for him there. Those 60% of the scores for the tricks, 30% for each trick, and then the 30% for that last trick as well. Andy, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 athletes through so far. It's a good start.
It's a good start. I think you will continue to see all the athletes rein in their approach as they watch each other and know exactly where to be. The turbulence has not been as much of a factor as I feared it might have been, at least by sight. We'll have to ask them, but it looks pretty good so far.
Let's see if we can go to the scores and have a look at the scores that we've got going on so far.
Cornelia MIHAI will be showing us a Cowboy switchblade. So once again, looking for that wide stance, dragging 2 feet in the water at the same time, releasing the hands from one control and dragging the hand in the water to the switchblade, which will be combining both toggles into one hand. A nice switch that works well together, trick to trick, while not being overly hybridized. You will definitely see the distinction from one trick to the next, and that will be positive. And then we will see whether she can put it ultimately on the pontoon, something that was elusive to her in Copenhagen. Of course, the Cowboy being one of her tricks shown highlight reel.
She's just lining herself up now, Andy, in the skies above us. Cornelia MIHAI with the UAE based out in Dubai. She's got a Dubai, competing all over the world. She's just been out in Russia, in Tane, the home of the 2020 Mondial, been training out there with the Russian National Championships. Fantastic competitor. She really does know how to throw it down and give that serious pace. Now, UAE, Cornelia MIHAI brings it in, Andy, with this Cowboy display.
Super deep, Regan. Super deep. Set up a little bit high. By the time it was on the water, by the time she was on the water, so much speed lost. And for these tricks that require releasing a control all you have is the speed that you induce during that turn, and without it, you really, really, really have a hard time releasing one of the controls. And then as a result, her second trick, again, speed is your friend, and without it, difficult to pull off the second trick as well. Nowhere near the pontoon. She's going to be a little disappointed with that.
As we know, it's Friday. It is a training day. We've got 2 rounds of training simulating the finals. And then in tomorrow, the qualifying round, which then puts the Canopy pilots into the order of the championships. And then the finals starting tomorrow afternoon here at 1400. We can have a look at the scores we've got now. REL MARQUET with a 21.35. It's a low one. He's not happy with that. Roberto Hernandez from Chile, 35.41. Mario Fataruso, second place, 49.40. Let's just get those scores back. We didn't quite finish. Back with those scores there. We just lost that top one. Miles COTTMAN is next from Australia. His first championships was in Copenhagen.
From Miles COTTMAN, we'll be looking for a boomerang method. Now, here is a circumstance where it might be difficult to draw distinction from trick 1 to trick 2. It will be interesting to see if Miles makes it a point to bring that boomerang, which is merely looking to get the wing 30 degrees over in a carving turn. If he can then return it to straight and level flight before he executes the method, that's going to be looked upon more favorably by the judges, as opposed to blending or hybridizing the 2 tricks together, which almost inevitably will cause both scores to suffer. So we'll see how successful Miles is in that.
Miles COTTMAN now from Australia. Sorry, Andy. Go on, Miles. Oh, he's on there,
gets
Andy.
to the pontoon. My goodness. Miles COTTMAN covering some ground. I heard the whistle to indicate the turn had begun, but I did not see him until he came out of the right frame, already on the water, entering the course from so deep. Wing over method, he did not do what I had hoped he would in bringing the wing directly overhead before executing the method, but to me, impressive nonetheless. Wow, covering a great deal of distance in that boomerang method combination, ultimately landing on the pontoon.
Incredible to see, Andy. So much that in Copenhagen, his first championships, didn't have the best start over the first 2 rounds. He just put it down there.
Indeed he did. He's got to be happy with that.
Miles COTTMAN, Australia, throwing it down over the waters of San Diego. A great start indeed with that boomerang method.
Armando Fataruso will be up next. The other Fataruso brother bringing us a cowboy boomerang. Now that is an interesting combination, Regan, as cowboy can be done in a carving manner, and you would think he would do that going into the boomerang. So again, facing the same set of challenges to where the judges would prefer a clear line of distinction between trick 1 and trick 2. It's going to be difficult to pull that off with a cowboy boomerang, but we'll see what he has in mind. One of the only competitors marked on the action sheet doing a right-hand carve into the course. I'll be curious to see if he changes that on the fly to, again, utilize this slingshotting downwind option, seeing as the pontoon is ultimately at a crosswind with the ground winds.
Armando Fataruso, cowboy boomerang is what we're looking for, Andy.
Indeed, Regan. I'm very curious to see if he sticks with his action sheet and comes from the side, which would give him a headwind immediately coming out of his turn. Not generally as desirable as a downwind push, where most of the competitors are utilizing that downwind push, much like Miles COTTMAN just did. And it clearly worked for him, covering a whole lot of ground. I would expect, as these competitors watch each other, their successes, their failures, if we don't see a whole lot of imitation, being, of course, the sincerest form of flattery.
If you just joined us, a very good afternoon. It is Friday, the 14th of September, 1626, just coming up on 4:30 in the afternoon. Swoop Freestyle FAI World Championship Finals is what we're leaning up for, and that's going to be tomorrow. Today is the training day, and in cooperation with Skydive San Diego, with Sichuan and the Port of San Diego, and iFly, of course. Port of San Diego, it does sponsor over 70 events annually, and it brings millions of visitors here to this area, to this village. It manages 34 miles of waterfront property around San Diego Bay as well. Beautiful afternoon in the, what would you call it in the States? I would say it's 28 degrees, but what would you call it, Andy?
I'd call it about 80 degrees, pretty typical for a San Diego September afternoon. Can't ask for much more, Regan. Not a cloud in the sky, gentle winds, and Swoop Freestyle for the first time here in San Diego.
The climate here is very stable. It seems similar all year round.
They don't call it America's finest city for nothing, Regan.
Is that what they call it?
They sure do. San Diego, moderate, temperate, year round. You only see about a maybe 15 to 18 degree swing for the entire year. And yeah, that's why many people choose to call it home.
And you don't live too far away from here yourself, about an hour up the road?
Yeah, I live about an hour up the road, based in Lake Elsinore since 2004. It's been good to me, as has all of Southern California.
Well, we are going ahead. I've just had a check on the temperature. It's actually 28. I called it at 27. That wasn't a bad guess, was it?
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Go, Regan. Indeed, coming from the side.
There's a water contact in this Superman.
Ooh, I thought he was going to have it, Regan. The cowboy boomerang is what we were looking for. Didn't quite get his fingers in the water. Always difficult to judge in real time from this distance, but I would say he didn't quite get his hand in the water. But I would have guessed in that boomerang he had plenty left in the tank to get to the pontoon, but came up a little bit short. Quite the opposite of what we saw from Miles COTTMAN, having all the distance he could deal with and he wanted in getting to the pontoon. So I'll be curious to see if anyone else chooses to come from the right, as Armando did, the only one on the action sheet indicating that was his plan. So he opted to stick with it, and unfortunately caused him to come up just shy of the pontoon.
We're using a different type of rescue system here as well to get these guys out of the water than what we've been traditionally using in Copenhagen. Andy, over there, the boats, the rescue boats are dragging these pilots over the side of the boat into the water. Here we're using jet skis with a raft at the back. Tell us about that.
Taken from surf competitions and other competitions in the water, Regan, a lot of success.
And now Timmy Thompson is on screen from Denmark, 26 years of age. Timmy had a great competition over there in Denmark the last few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago it was, and we're going to be seeing what you can bring for us here. Ghost Rider, Tick Jockey. Difficult little combination, Andy.
Yeah, it's one of the more technical combinations we have. Perhaps the mission of youth. Probably continue. Go for the Ghost Rider, Tick Jockey. Ghost Rider, release both hands. Both controls towards the air. Grabbing both controls with one hand. Ankle grab.
Trying to run out the water at the end there, Andy.
Regan, it's such a small window of opportunity to execute a Ghost Rider smoothly. The wing is trimmed out in such a way, especially these new wings, the way they are trimmed, it requires you to assist the wing into a straight and level flight. So as soon as you release those controls, it's a small window you have to show your style points, having released both controls, and just checking your hip off the water makes it very difficult going into the second trick, which he wasn't able to execute terribly smoothly, and ultimately coming up a little bit short of the pontoon.
There's a shot of the scores there, still at the top. Jeannie Bartholomew, she must be very pleased. Andy coming in, setting up the standard, throwing herself down. Did you see her leaping around at the end of her run?
Oh, she was extremely excited, as she should be. Copenhagen was not her best competition, but you can be assured that she spent every waking minute preparing for this.
Training rounds we've got for you today. 2 rounds of training. It's a simulation of the finals in the whole championships in the Swoop Freestyle. 6 runs we've got, Andy. We've got 2 rounds of the training, then 2 rounds of the qualification, and then 2 rounds of the final.
Indeed, Regan. Today accounts for just that, training, and tomorrow in the qualifiers we will determine our seeding for the finals happening tomorrow afternoon.
Chris Stewart is our next athlete through from New Zealand. Chris has been with us now for a few years, 30 years of age, Auckland, first jumping 20.08, 7,000 jumps now. And when Chris started, he knew from his first jump that he wanted to be a full-time skydiver. That was his motivation, which is unusual. A lot of people getting it for a bit of fun or to rise to be a full-time skydiver. He's approaching now, Andy, with his tricks, Cowboy Superman. Oh! Just catching those knees, Andy, into the water, flicking him up.
A bit of a happy accident. He's not going to be terribly excited about it, but talk about making lemonade. Maybe a little bit eager to get into that cowboy. Perhaps his vision not quite as high as it should have been, causing him to dig a knee, which popped him out of the water almost violently. Fortunately, he was able to regain control with not any time available to execute the second trick, but he does end up on the pontoon.
Kurt Bartholomew will be next, ex-world champion in canopy piloting, 5 times world champion. Andy, wing over lazy boy is the tricks we are looking for. He likes that wing over.
Regan, one of the biggest storylines coming out of Copenhagen, neither Kurt Bartholomew or Nicholas Batch on the podium. And Regan, everyone's entitled to a bad game. Champions, they don't have a bad game twice. I expect a big bounce back from Kurt Bartholomew here. Looking for a wing over lazy boy. Not the easiest combination by any stretch, but if anyone can pull it off, it is he.
Look at those waves out there now, Andy, with these rescue boats going through. It's really kicking up, a chop through the water.
Indeed, Regan, this is what we spoke about at the top of the show. It is a bit of the roll of the dice. Here
comes wing over lazy boy. That's what we're looking for, Andy Malgildi. Oh!
You got the sense he was a little bit low in the turn. Tried to dig out of it, but wow. He should be okay. He's no stranger to sacrificing his body in the name of pulling off the best trick sequence possible, but definitely
we saw Chris
wasn't able to dig it out enough to return to straight and level flight, but it looks like he's okay.
And Andy, we saw Chris Stewart looking a little bit low as well previously. Looking at the scores there, Chris Stewart takes a 21.76, Cornelia MIHAI 27.7. Here is Ian Bobo is going to be next through the course. Ian Bobo, ladies and gentlemen.
Ian Bobo doing the same sequence he did in Copenhagen. The boomerang, excuse me, no, not the same sequence, boomerang method. Again, the question needs to be answered by each competitor. Doing a combination like this, it can easily blend in such a way that the judges would prefer not to see. So if he can return the boomerang to straight and level flight before the method, he'll be rewarded for it.
Here is Ian Bobo, the professor, putting himself in this championships. Originally from Florida, 47 years of age, 21,000 skydives.
Regan, Ian Bobo, like he has for so many years, mentoring all these young guys, showing them what it is to be an ambassador of this sport and a true professional.
Boomerang method, 2.11 multiplier on the boomerang, 2.06 on the method.
What I'll be looking for, not just from Bobo, but all these competitors, any trick sequence that doesn't automatically lend itself to the line of decision to one trick two. Will these competitors return the trick in first place, where clearly trick one has ended and trick two has begun, or will they combine them and accept the consequences?
We're about to find out. It's the 11th competitor out of 17 here in the first run of these training days here in San Diego, the port of San Diego. Maintains 22 parks here, numerous piers, and a variety of other waterfront venues that encourage community use. Well, this is community use for you now. Let's have a look at the scores as they stand. Currently, Kurt Bartholomew 12.97, Ariel Marquet 21.35, Chris Stewart 21.76, Cornelia MIHAI 27.27, 29.39, Timmy Thompson, Roberto Hernandez 35.41, Armando Fataruso 35.44, Miles COTTMAN 42.06, Mario Fataruso 49.40, and at the top, Genie Bartholomew 59.84. Remember, these are the training rounds, Andy. These scores don't actually account for anything later on in the day.
Well, they'll account for bragging rights if nothing else, Regan. Genie and Kurt Bartholomew, of course, married. Genie, as far as I'm aware, not able to defeat her husband in competition thus far. She's on the track right now to do so. Still looking for Ian Bobo to go into his turn right now. Chris Teague will be following him up.
So just a reminder there, it's Ian Bobo who's coming next, not Chris Teague, as we have on the screen. Do apologise for that. It is actually Ian Bobo who we should be seeing coming through the course as our 11th competitor. Takeoff point just behind us, just behind the stage where we've got a lot of acts, local acts coming down, DJs and bands as well.
What a rare view Ian Bobo has as he approaches his turn down.
Point over bridge with a warship actually passing down. Flood off the course, I think. Just hope that boat doesn't seem as a threat. Oh, this is better, Andy. This is looking good for Bobo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Nice and smooth. The boomerang method. The only thing that's going to get dinged on Regan is the pull back of the what would have been considered a classic method, but the boomerang looked great. The approach was buttery smooth, and the landing, I thought he was going to go for the stand-up landing, played it a little bit safe, but wow, probably the best run we've seen thus far. I will be looking for him to take the top spot. We'll have to see.
Like a penny push machine, getting towards the edge, ready to fall, but he stopped. I don't know how he did it. Mental powers from the professor stopped that momentum, Andy. Wow, let's see what the score is, what the judges bring us for that. Is he going to take him to the top? Is it going to beat the 5.9.84 from Genie Bartholomew? Andy, is he going to do it?
Well, we're looking at a 2.11 difficulty multiplier, so not the highest, not the lowest, but so well executed.
Chris Teague now, 36 from Johannesburg, South Africa. First jump in 9,500 jumps from Chris. He's not been that busy, has he?
No, certainly not. Only the 9-time South African champion, representing all of Africa proudly, Regan.
Boomerang blind man is what we're looking for from Chris Teague. Now, he opened the championships, the finals in Copenhagen with a great result. Straight on to the pontoon, looking good. He's being followed on camera as well by one of our camera flyers. South African now.
Blind man Regan, no easy task. Looks like he's set up not quite as deep as Ian and Miles.
Nice water contact.
Oh,
is he on there? He's just sticking off. Is he on the edge of the raft, Andy, or is he his little feet just sticking up in the air?
hard to tell, but what is certain, Regan, is he completely aborts the attempt at the blind man in favor of trying to reach the pontoon. That is a strategic move, and if I weigh the consequences, I'm going to go ahead and agree with his strategy, seeing as if he would have attempted the blind man, probably no way he gets the probably wouldn't have been scored that well. His thinking was, let me abort that second trick, get to the pontoon, which is scored equally as high. We'll see if it pans out for him.
Well, it worked for Ian Bobo. 64.94, getting closer towards that elusive 70 points. That's what's been making those top 3 places in Copenhagen. We're looking for 70. 64.94 from Ian Bobo.
Definitely a strong showing, not only pulling into the #1 slot, but by a commanding 5-point lead.
Franco Darman now with the blind man, Superman, this Argentinian, the 2 brothers of Franco and Marco. We haven't got Marco in the competition yet, but he is here supporting the family. He said in 2016 they're going to be champions of swooping. That's what they wanted. Well, they're here now on the world stage from Copenhagen to San Diego. Blind man, Superman is what we're looking for from Franco Darman, Andy.
It's definitely going to pay to put the to put the blind man as the first move, because the more speed you have, Regan, the easier it's going to be to keep those feet on the water, to give less input to your controls as you turn backwards in the harness. If you can, you want to move onto your toggles from your rear risers as late as possible in this trick. Putting it first, preserving that speed, is going to give him an opportunity to do just that.
So what we've seen so far, let's just talk through what we've had. The second through, Genie Bartholomew sticking it down onto the pontoon, as good as you like. Ian Bobo just coming through there after a low and dirty run from CURT Bartholomew. Bobo takes the top of the pack. Franco Darman, blind man, Superman, Andy.
These competitors are having success setting up incredibly deep, much to the joy of the competitors lining the stone jetty here at Embarcadero Park, getting a great view of these competitors as they come through. Turns it around too much, not quite in control during the second half of that sequence. It started off well. Maybe I'm a little bit gun shy, having seen a couple people skip off the water so far, Regan. It looked to me like it was a little bit on the low side, but he pulled it out enough to throw that blind man around pretty jerkily. It wasn't the smoothest blind man I've ever seen, but he got it around, kept his feet on the water initially, but then coming around, trying to go into the Superman, he came off the water, almost successfully put it back on the pontoon, but instead of stopping facing right, he actually over-rotated to face backwards once again and slipped off the pontoon.
Well, he was happy. He was bouncing around on the pontoon. He was very happy with what he saw there, and he really showed how much this meant to him. 1, 2, 3, 4 competitors still to come. 4 more athletes in this first round. Claudio Cagnasso, Cowboy Miracle Man is what we're going to be looking for.
Woo, Cowboy Miracle Man not shying away from the moment. Claudio Cagnasso choosing to take on a very high difficulty move. Cowboy being mostly his specialty. That's what we saw in the end of Copenhagen when he had such a smooth run, but and had the highest scoring round, but not enough to overtake any of the top 3 competitors at the end of that competition. One of the only, or the only competitor attempting a Miracle Man here in training. He has a straight in approach marked on his action sheet, but he sure looks like he's setting up for a left carve. We'll see where he goes from here.
From Florida, 29 years of age. Well, his hometown's Florida, Venezuela is his home. 7,000 jumps. First jump in 2004. He's hungry, Andy, to get on to the top 3 of this finals. This is what he's looking for. He really means a lot to him. Setting up across the line of flight, beginning his turn. Andy McCurdy.
He did end up back in the center as his action sheet said he would. Throwing one more turn here. And there's this Cowboy skipping off, tip checking.
Oh, he's on there, Andy.
Does get onto the pontoon. No attempt at the Miracle Man.
But with that choppy water, what a good, well played. A good Cowboy in my view. from what I could see, caught one of the waves there, caught the upside of the wave.
Where I was standing, Regan, it looked like he was going to do a left carve. His action sheet marks a center approach, and he went all the way to the right carve. So curious to learn what his thinking was there, but as you say, hip checked, possibly off a wave, off some of this chop, doesn't have an opportunity to attempt the Miracle Man, sees the pontoon coming, opts for the omission of the second trick, does end up on the podium. We'll see what it ends up with.
Still waiting for the score from Claudio, but currently third place on this practice. Mario Fataruso, 49.40. Genie Bartholomew, second place, 59.84. In the lead, Ian Bobo, 64.94. Now the Copenhagen Danish poster boy, Christian Weber. The last time we saw him, Andy, throwing out the guns to one side as he came through the course. Here he is, the Weber.
Christian Weber looking for a boomerang Superman, playing it a little bit safe here in the training round, getting a feel for the course. We know he's capable of more technical combinations than that, but he's probably just going to feel this one out some, Regan.
2.11 multiplier on the first trick on the boomerang. 2.10 multiplier available for the Superman. Andy, we are almost through this first round of training. We've had a lot of action. We've had some controversy. We've had bounces on the waves and people sticking it onto the center of the pontoon.
Certainly this chop is playing a role, as we knew it would, presenting some difficulties for these competitors. Not a situation you can accurately replicate in training. So all the competitors seeing a lot of this for the first time.
It is the 14th of September, the first time we've brought Swoop Freestyle out of Copenhagen. Here in San Diego, today and tomorrow. Practice rounds today, 2 practice rounds. Tomorrow we've got the qualification rounds and then the grand finals, and we're going to find out who's going to be crowned Swoop Freestyle Champion 2018. In the meantime, Christian Weber lines himself up, Andy, with a boomerang Superman.
Looks like he's set up not quite as deep. Well, yeah, he's in about the same spot as the other competitors who have had success here. Started a little high, rode out the turn a little bit before whipping the final bit of it. Very smooth into the Superman. He's definitely going to come up a little bit short.
Well, Andy, he had good water contact. He was smooth for him as he came through.
Regan, the thing about the Supermans are you can use your feet like rudders. And if you were to set up a little bit tight, it can be to your advantage, because as you dig your feet in during the Superman and you're coming up on that pontoon fast, you can dig those feet more, send up a rooster tail, probably going to score some style points doing it, and slow yourself down successfully enough to stop on the pontoon.
On to the rescue jet ski, Christian Weber from Denmark. Processing now his first run of this first ever championships here in the port of San Diego, gathering up his equipment and being brought back to the dry land and then ready to repack for round 2. 2 more athletes still to come through here. Pablo Hernandez from Spain, and of course the winner from Copenhagen, Travis Mills. And of course we are running in reverse order of the finals of Copenhagen, Andy.
From Pablo Hernandez, we're looking for a boomerang wing over. It's almost impossible to draw a distinction between the 2 tricks, but knowing Pablo, he's interested in a show. He's not so interested in winning per se, but he wants to give the crowd the best show he can.
33 years of age, working out in Dubai with the Flight 1 Canopy School. First jump in 2000, 16,000 skydives now with a great now young family. His daughter just started school this week.
Pablo Hernandez, a lover of life, always a smile on his face, a pleasure to be around. Loves living in Dubai, contributing to skydiving there.
Boomerang, wing over, Andy. These 2 tricks, which go together, 2.11 and 2.49 multipliers available.
Pablo setting up further to the west than we've seen anyone do thus far. He'll be bringing it back over this direction any moment.
Just right over the top of the studio right now. We have a limited airspace we can use here, Andy. We are in the middle of two separate airports.
Regan, it's amazing we're able to do this because we are extremely close to Lindbergh International Airport, also to the largest naval airport on the West Coast. So there is a tight corridor, a tight column of airspace that we are allowed to utilize for our event. It's amazing of the city of San Diego to allow us to do this.
All right, the first time Pablo Hernandez on this course. He's got the pontoon in his sights, and we're looking for a boomerang wing over.
A nice looking turn. He's gonna, oh! It is that transition from the tick jockey to the Superman, seeing as you have to take the controls out of one hand, put them back into two hands, and then lay it down successfully. It looked like it had a good start. Once again, I'll be curious to hear from these competitors how much of a role this chop is playing.
It is like this water is sticky compared to the lake in Copenhagen, where with some water contact, they seem to be kind of skidding across. Here, as soon as they're touching it, poof, brakes are on, they're stopping.
It's really something to see. I'm glad we haven't seen any injuries. These competitors, they are high spirits all the time, so it's going to take more than that to keep them down.
Travis Mills, tick jockey, Superman, the winner in Copenhagen, currently in the lead of the championships as we're going into the finals here this weekend. That's our 17 athletes through on round 1, and round 2 of the training will be with us very shortly.
Regan, let's take a little sneak preview into what we're likely to see here in round 2. We will see the same order of competitors. Competitors trying out a few different combinations, somewhat by design, somewhat by necessity, as they weigh their successes and failures in round 1, and they consider these conditions, this chop on the water. I'm really interested to speak with some of these competitors to know what, if anything, they'll be looking to change as we enter the second round of training. Well,
the first round of training is done, and it's the first time we've put this competition down here in a new city. The logistics of getting everything up and running, it's a training round for us and for the technicians as well, but it looks like we've managed to get through the first round. Very shortly, we'll have CURT Bartholomew in the studio for an interview, but in the meantime, we're going to show you some of the highlights of the first part of the competition we had in Copenhagen. So there we go with the first of these training rounds. Nick Batch down there, the 18th competitor, injured last week in training, not with us now. And CURT Bartholomew, ex-teammate of Nick Batch at the bottom, 17th place, 16, R.HER Marquet, 15, Chris Stewart, 40, Cornelia MIHAI, 13, Timmy Thompson, 12, Roberto Hernandez, 11, Armando Fataruso. The top 10 from the first round is like this: Chris Teague, 10, Miles Cottman, 9, Pablo Hernandez, 8, Franco Darman, 7, Claudio Cognacio, 6, Mario Fataruso, 5, Travis Mills down into 4th with 5.1.54, Christian Weber up there at the top at the moment in 3rd place with 5.7.30, Genie Bartholomew takes 2nd place in the first training round, and Ian Bobo at the top, 6.4.94, Andy.
Based on the performances we've seen, I think the scores are about what these competitors would imagine they should receive. I think, especially sitting in on the judges meeting, as I mentioned before, rare but very fortunate position for these competitors to have direct access to these judges, to communicate with them, and I think they're all going to be, you know, they might not be happy with their performance, but I think they'll find their score to be fair.
We're going back into the action with the second round of training. Roberto Hernandez will be our first pilot in the round 2 through the course. He's out of the aircraft, he's out of the helicopter, and he's flying right now, and it's a quick pack job with a wet parachute.
Looking for a method blind man out of Roberto, and again, anytime you put that blind man as the second trick, your window of opportunity to execute it well shrinks a little bit because you will have lost speed by that point. So if he is successful, if I'm a judge, I'm rewarding that as a little bit more technical than had it been the other way around.
Roberto Hernandez keeps himself calm, keeps himself quiet. Blind man is what we're looking for.
The only exception to that line of thought, Regan, is, of course, you take the hand out of the control for the, oh, excuse me, no, method. I was thinking cowboy.
The 90 degrees.
If he does the blind man second, I'll be very impressed if he's successful with that.
All right, well, he's just setting up now. Switch to the picture of our first athlete in round 2, Roberto Hernandez, bringing it down. The safety crews are on standby. The water has calmed down a lot. It's being followed on video, Andy.
A little bit high in the turn. He's going to lose a lot of speed. He was so deep his first run, and he's really deep again. Interesting, Regan. A very successful blind man. So far, we've seen, I believe, 2 competitors opt to omit their second trick altogether in favor of trying to land on the pontoon. Here we have a case of Roberto probably understanding he has no chance to reach the pontoon. His only choice is to execute that second trick as well as he can, and it looks like he had some nice success holding that blind man, flaring through that blind man all the way to a stop, clean stop in the water. Won't get points for the pontoon, of course. However, a very well executed second trick and first trick.
We're going to see next what Jeannie Bartholomew can bring us. She finished round 1 in second place. Lazy boy, cowboy is what we are looking for here from Jeannie. Lazy boy getting back. She calls it the lazy girl, actually. She likes to make that differential of it. She's back in the harness, legs out in front of her. 5,000 jumps now, becoming a champion in her own right, Andy.
Whatever you call it, we are again set up for a deceivingly technical element in that you will release your hands, one hand from the controls on the cowboy, having already spent so much of your precious speed with that lazy boy. So if she is successful with that, I would expect her to get rewarded appropriately by the judges.
We shall see. At the moment, currently first place Ian Bobo taking that first place in the first round of training. But Jeannie Bartholomew close behind in second, leading all the way from the first run through. She must be feeling very confident right now.
I think Jeannie's probably on top of the world, and she's going to be looking to capitalize and gain some consistency in this run and into tomorrow.
After this second round of training, we've still got the wingsuiting display to happen. These 3 mustaches, the quiet stars of Copenhagen, those big wingsuits on with the base jump landings. But right above us now, again being followed on video, just outside the studio, Andy, up to the north, Jeannie Bartholomew sets herself up. Lazy boy, cowboy, down, looking back, legs out in front of her. Cowboy then, one hand off the control, down into the water. Here she comes, Andy MARQUET.
Setting up the turn, not as deep in the carving lane as the other competitors. Looks like she's taking the straight-in approach. Really bleeding out that turn till the end, whips it. It's going to be maybe slightly higher than she would prefer. There's the lazy girl.
Oh, yes, nice. Oh, come on, she's going to stop there. Oh! Andy, it looked like she had those 2 tricks in there for me. It looked like there was that distinction we were looking for. Did it please you? Was it there? Did it get it?
Hard to tell, Regan. It looked like she definitely had herself leaned back appropriately for the lazy boy after having bled out a lot of speed with a turn a little bit higher than I think she would have preferred. But her offhand for the cowboy was on our blind side, so we didn't quite see it. Looks like she could have pulled it off, was still had a body position a lot like her lazy boy, and then clawing to stay on the raft and almost being contacted by the videographer. Not sure if that played any role in her ending up off the pontoon when it was all said and done. Up next, we will have R.HER MARQUET with a method blind man.
There we go, big smile and wave from Jeannie. She's done quite a few TV appearances. I think she's been on TV twice this morning before she came down here.
Got an unmistakable smile, Regan. Impossible not to like her. And putting on a great performance here in San Diego.
Let's have a look at those scores one more time if we can. Has it been put down there yet? Let's have a look at the second round from Jeannie. We're still waiting for that one to come. But Roberto Hernandez increases that first round score with a 5.7.80, taking him to a 9.3.32, Andy.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Regan. Again, having a very nice two-trick combination, riding that blind man out all the way to a smooth submersion in the water. I think that score suits that second round from Roberto.
Thanks for joining us if you just arrived. This is the second round of training. Ariel Marquet from France.
We'll be looking for a method blind man here, Regan, and of course the blind man turning 180 in the harness. Easy to show distinction because you're not going to be backwards in the harness for any other move. So what we'll be looking for particularly is how low he takes that method, how pronounced he looks to show that method before turning backwards in the harness.
Quite an accomplished skateboard as well. We've got the basketball court just beyond the studio, and yesterday here, having a look around the course, the athletes were all down here. He had his skateboard. He was chucking down some mighty tricks. Did you see him?
Also chastising the rest of us for choosing to ride scooters when we could ride skateboards.
That's right. It is free. It is free, says Ariel.
No app needed.
There's a lot of skateboards, a lot of scooters here in San Diego, Andy. There's 2 or 3 different companies, people flying around all over. A golden age of personal transportation, as Andy said.
That's what I hear.
Apparently they've already been banned up in Santa Monica. So it's quite an iconic moment. First time here in the United States with the Swoop Freestyle. Ariel Marquet to come with his second and final training jump with this method blind man.
Regan, it's a nice choice of combination because in doing the method, you're almost halfway to the blind man, but yet the actual input to go backwards in the harness is inherently distinct from the method. So it is a good way to blend 2 tricks without sacrificing the line of distinction from trick 1 to trick 2. A little bit of chop on the water that he'll have to contend with. Smoother than some competitors have had to deal with, not as smooth as what others have been fortunate enough to have. Not a lot of boats out on that boundary that's been put out into the bay. Tomorrow, it's worth taking note of whether the additional boats that will be out there will absorb some of the chop, perhaps, that is put out by the boats through the cut, or not. Okay, we have Ariel setting himself up, approaching the course.
So I'm going to tell you, Andy, that Jeannie there on that second run gets a 5.3.11 against the first round of 5.9.84. Consistency is the name of her game. 112.96 after 2 rounds.
Yeah, she'll be happy with that. That one could have gone a little bit lower for her, but that sounds fair to me.
Ariel, set it up, bringing us his second round, his method blind man, Andy. Here he comes.
Looking for a straight-in approach. Winding up this turn. Looks like he's going to be a little tight again. Regan, he got a seagull in his lines. Did you see that? That seagull was just in Ariel's lines.
And I think he's heading towards the studio as well for an interview.
Wow. I did not know what that was when I saw it. Amazing.
I thought it's the first time we've had a competitor bringing a bird onto the pontoon.
Wow. Wow. In any event, R.HER Marquette taking a straight-in approach, a little bit tight, as he was on round one. I'm surprised he didn't make an adjustment with that. This blind man looked forced at the end, knowing that pontoon was coming up fast. He kind of got sideways, his body landing on the raft, snagging a seagull in his lines. And then the seagull escaped unharmed, wondering what in the heck just happened.
R.HER Marquette, the seagull snapper. We're just waiting for his scores to be confirmed and brought through. 21.35 on round one, 60.04 is what he brings us there. The highest score so far in the second round. 81.40 hard first round. Good score on the second round, 60.04, giving him a total in training of 81.40. Wow, that's seagull, Andy.
You don't see that every day, Regan. Wow, we're fortunate enough to have laid eyes on that. Coming up next is Mario Fataruso looking for a lazy boy switchblade. It's a nice middle ground between not too technical, but certainly challenging.
Here comes his run, Andy. Here comes his turn.
Both controls into
Here he
one
is.
hand. Let's take a look. A little bit high in his turn, perhaps. Nice lazy boy. Does get the switchblade, however, completely out of the water when he does. So he will be penalized for that, as these judges are looking for all these tricks to be executed with water contact. It looked smooth, Regan. I have to believe this chop, even when it appears to us to be mild, has got to be wreaking some havoc.
Yeah, he was high, trying to get down. You can see his body language in his face there, Andy, as he disappears off on the back of the jet ski. Mario Fataruso, the Italian, just looking at his scores now to see what the judges make of it. He got a 49.40 on 1. His scores are just coming through, 49.40. Remember, we've got 60% of the score is available for the tricks, 30% each. 30% is available for the landing, and 10% for the approach.
That's correct, Regan. And when you think about the tricks, the choices these competitors have to make is, if they blend the two tricks together, inadvertently or not, they're essentially going to be judged as one.
Well, he got a 40.98 on his second jump, 49.40 on his first jump, 90.38. Cornelia MIHAI now, not a good first round, 27.27. Again, it's training. We don't want to read too much into it. It's the first time these pilots have been in this location. It's all a new site. It's a new setup.
Looking for a blind man Superman out of Cornelia. I like the sequence. I like the combination. I'll be excited to see how she pulls it off.
Off breaks into the dive. Here she comes, Andy. Cornelia MIHAI.
She was a little bit deep in her first round. Not as big a turn as most of these other competitors. Coming straight down the pike, slightly high perhaps. The blind man not quite all the way around. Superman, can she stay on? Oh, a little bit off. Wow, I initially thought she was a little bit deep, but as it turns out, she could have been even another 30 feet deep or so. Didn't quite get the blind man all the way around. It looked a little bit more like a method than anything else. And then, knowing that pontoon was creeping up fast, she wasn't able to lay down the Superman nearly as much as she would have preferred, but did make contact with the pontoon, will get some credit, should be a middle-of-the-road score.
Their scores are starting to come through now. Those judges are hitting their marks. It's 27.27 on the round one for Cornelia, going up now through the 30s, the 40s, as these scores get inputted into the system. Just waiting for the final score to be put down for Cornelia as we watch the intro of Miles COTTMAN.
Interestingly, Regan, from round one to round two, many of these competitors, all but 4 of them, in fact, opting for a straight down the pike approach as opposed to those carving entries.
Well, Cornelia gets 59.72 on that second round. 59.72 score.
I think she'll be pretty happy with that.
Now, Miles, he started off quite strong, Andy. 42.06 on his first round. Not a, not the best of results. His possible score on that was 87.19. That was the possible high score, 42.06. And he's bringing us now a Lazy Boy Superman.
A Lazy Boy Superman, certainly one of the simpler combinations, setting up super deep. My goodness, Regan.
He's a long way away.
Let's see if he has a chance to make it to the pontoon here. Lazy Boy, Superman, and ending up probably a good 10 meters from the pontoon. And once again, Regan, I don't believe we've seen any competitor successfully stay on the water with that Lazy Boy. It's a little bit, you know, the Superman you're able to drag, so you're pulling yourself. In the Lazy Boy, you're pushing yourself on the water. And in doing so, as you do battle with this chop, so difficult to maintain water contact, I would not be surprised to see a number of these competitors omit the Lazy Boy from their sequences tomorrow if this wind is at all similar.
Yeah, we're going to see for sure a different set of tricks than what we had in Copenhagen. That lake compared to the ocean, making a big difference for us.
And it's not even just the wind that creates this chop, but the boats too. And on a Saturday, you can count on more boats than a Friday. It'll be really interesting to see how these competitors choose to deal with that.
Miles COTTMAN now making his way out of the auditorium. The scores coming through. They are through. 3.15, Andy. 3.415, giving him a total of 76.21.
Yeah, again, judges, I think, are being consistent and being fair. I don't think there's much controversy thus far in the way of judging. And Armando Fataruso will be up next, looking for a Switchblade Ghost Rider. And Regan, I'm always impressed when I see a Ghost Rider as the second trick in a sequence.
Absolutely. Top three as it stands, Andy, as we're moving through this second round of training. Third place, Mario Fataruso, 9.038. Roberto Hernandez, 9.3.32. And up there at the top, 1.12.96 from the United States, Jeannie Bartholomew.
With Armando Fataruso attempting the Ghost Rider as the second trick in the sequence again, you will have lost so much speed, Regan, and having lost the speed, you're going to take both hands out of your controls. It's a tall order for anyone. But
Have a look at Armando.
If anyone can do it, Armando can.
Working down at Skydive Seville in Spain. The brother, it's unusual to have two brothers competing. We've also got the Darmans, one of them in competition right now, another one trying to get into the championships.
Indeed, and the Fataruso brothers, what a joy to be around them, is it not?
It is.
Such good energy.
Absolutely such good energy. These two Italians from a skydiving family. They were on the drop zone from babies. The parents were four-way competitors. And that whistle tells me he's beginning his approach right now. Here he is, Armando Fataruso. Switchblade Ghost Rider. Switchblade there.
Okay, well, unlike that first round, he opted to not induce a stall to try to land on the pontoon, perhaps feeling a little too high off the pontoon to safely do that. Unfortunately, not an opportunity for the Ghost Rider, and worse, overshoots the pontoon. So probably not looking forward to a great score on this round, but you won't be able to wipe the smile off his face.
No, never. He's loving it. His scores are coming through. The Italian taking on round one, 3.5.44 with a possible 9.2.09. Possible high score for him here on this second round, 9.0.51. And his scores coming through right now. As it stands at the moment, in the lead, Jeannie Bartholomew. Armando Fataruso with his Switchblade Ghost Rider being scored live right now on the boat of Destiny. Timmy Thompson, Blind Man Switchblade is what we're going to be looking for next, Andy.
Blind Man Switchblade, something we haven't seen thus far here in San Diego. Probably we will look to see him put both controls into one hand for the Switchblade while still backwards in the harness from the Blind Man.
Just not happy with that Armando Fataruso run on the 14.43.
Wow, possibly the low score thus far here in San Diego. Unfortunate, but not unexpected. I expect Armando to bounce back tomorrow.
Training round, first time in these championships. We can't stress that enough. It's the first time this location has been used. Very different, Andy, than when you know a setup. Places like in Copenhagen, where you've done it 2 or 3 championships already, to put yourself in a situation where it's a whole new environment, a whole new setup. Makes a big difference.
Makes all the difference in the world, Regan. It's different obstacles, different wind conditions, different things on the ground to influence the wind, all these trees, all these buildings, all these boats. It's going to take a while for them to really dial it in.
32 miles of waterfront property around San Diego Bay and Imperial Beach. That's all controlled by the Port of San Diego. Big thank you to iFly and Skydive San Diego as well. And of course, Siquan Casino and the City of San Diego too.
All right, Regan, here we go. Throwing it around, right down the pike.
Oh, it's looking good from Timmy, Andrew. Whoa. Oh, he's just on the edge. He's just on the edge. Over there. Wow. Talk us through that.
Well, I'm not sure what exactly he was trying to pull off. It looked as if it was a blind man, miracle man, but it looks like he went to the switchblade from the blind man and then continued around as if to finish a miracle man, if that makes sense. I would love to get him in for an interview later and see what he had in mind there. Looked impressive. He will get some style points for it. Comes off the pontoon, but with that contact, you would certainly expect this to be a favorable score. It wasn't in great control, but it certainly wasn't out of control. I would expect it to be a little bit better than middle of the road.
Well, Timmy Thompson, always a pleasure, always a surprise in what he's bringing. He had a true 9.39 in his round 1 out of a possible 9.4.62. His score that's possible on round 2, 9.3.67. Andy brings us a 4.3.12. So we're still looking at Genie up there with that 112.96, way out in the lead on this training. Chris Stewart from New Zealand is going to be next, and it is going to be bringing us a Boomerang Cowboy.
I'm a little surprised that's probably the first score I'm mostly surprised at. I would expect a little bit better than 43, but judges have spoken and we move on. Chris
Stewart, New Zealand, great competitor. Been around Swoop Freestyle for a few years now. His second ever attempt here in San Diego. First round from Chris Stewart, give us 2.1.76. Out of a possible 9.1.93. Possible high scoring round here of 9.2.09 from Chris Stewart.
Here he comes from the right, looking for a Boomerang Cowboy.
Now Andy has put himself down on the pontoon. The Boomerang was there. What about that Cowboy?
Definitely will score highly on the landing, no doubt, as he comes to a stop almost dead center. The Boomerang Cowboy certainly choosing to live with the consequences of a trick sequence that looked to show no intention or effort in drawing distinction from trick 1 to trick 2. So I believe he'll get penalized for that if the judges have made that clear, but we'll see. We've been surprised before.
CURT Bartholomew will be next. The scores from Chris Stewart are coming through now, thick and fast. Low score in round 1, 2, 1.76. This score now could put him up the rankings, but he needs a good one. We've got CURT Bartholomew going to be next. He's bringing us the Boomerang Switchblade, and he had a bad round 1.
Indeed, Regan, but as I mentioned, champions are going to bounce back. The smart money is on a champion to perform better the next time around. They don't have multiple bad games.
Well, Chris Stewart takes the high score now on round 2 with 60.77, just above what R.HER brought us with a 60.04 and Genie's 53.11. So that puts Chris Stewart now on 82.77 1.53. Kurt Bartholomew, boomerang switchblade is what we're looking for.
That's very interesting to see Chris Stewart's score, Regan. It was a beautiful run, but of course, those tricks were most certainly hybridized, and it sends mixed signals when the judges say one thing and reward another. So we'll have to see. Again, these competitors will be making real-time adjustments now and through tomorrow.
Well, beginning this turn now, let's switch to the action. Here's Kurt Bartholomew. Boomerang switchblade.
A better turn this time for sure.
Oh, it's nice, Andy, it's nice. Is he going to put it down on the pontoon? Oh!
Just off to the right, but a much better approach, a much better turn. Smoothly as possible, trying to get the wing over. He calls a boomerang, not a wing over, interestingly, but almost performs the wing over inherently. So he should get high marks for the boomerang, which only requires a 30-degree carve of the canopy. Certainly more than that, almost touching the wingtip to the water. Successfully does get his hands into the one control for the switchblade. And then, of course, Regan, so difficult with the hands in one control. Right becomes left, left becomes right as you try to steer it successfully to the pontoon and came up just a little bit to the right. He will get some points for that as he did have a decent proximity, but of course not as desirable as bringing it to a stop firmly on the raft.
A low score in round one of 12.97. His final score is through 5.8.19 for Kurt Bartholomew. 5.8.19, giving him a training total of 7.1.16. He's got his eye on it. He's getting better.
I think that's about as good a score as you could hope, having missed the pontoon altogether with an 88.93 maximum score for that sequence. I think he'll take that, he'll sleep on it, and he'll be back strong tomorrow.
Well, Ian Bobo will be next, and he's going to be giving us the boomerang wing over, but at the moment, out there, way in front with 9 points, Genie Bartholomew, 112.96.
Ian Bobo will be looking to snatch that #1 slot away from Genie, doing what seems to be his trademark sequence of the boomerang wing over, carving in from the left once again.
Yeah, we haven't had anybody over the magical golden 70 points yet, Andy. We saw in Copenhagen that 70 points in that final round made a massive difference for Pablo Hernandez and for Travis Mills.
It seemed to be, as you say, the magic number to get over to almost assure yourself a place on the podium.
Are we going to see that now from Ian Bobo in his only ever second run through this brand new course?
Certainly it has the potential with a maximum score of 93.83 available to him for this sequence. He's executed it well once so far. Again, the smart money would suggest with one look at it, he should only do it better the second time. We will see.
There's a lot of psychology here. It's the first time here in San Diego, the first time on this water, first time competing on the water, which is not a lake. So you've got the chop going on, you've got this bag of tricks to choose from. You're going to try a few on round one and see how they work out. Round two, we're going to see a lot of changes overnight.
The left-hand approach has been working. The lazy boys have not. The blind men, nah. A lot of the cowboys we're likely to see again, but yeah, certainly some things will definitely be instituted. Some things will be out the window, such as life in the training rounds.
Yeah, this water, it's like glue. Once the contact comes, there's not much sliding going on.
Certainly not. Once you hip check the water, knee check the water, your body comes out from under the canopy, extremely difficult to recover from.
A beautiful afternoon here in San Diego. In Europe, we call it 28 degrees. In the States, Andy, you call it?
That's about 80 degrees, very pleasant. Ian Bobo sets up right above the corner of Embarcadero Park here into his turn right now, and about the same exact spot we saw him in round one. There's the finish of the turn, coming in from deep, looking for boomerang.
Oh, it's nice.
Over. And, oh, just shy of the pontoon.
I don't know, is that classed as being on it? Because it does dip down into the water at the front, Andy. Is he going to be scored as being on the pontoon. What are the judges going to make of that?
Well, it's not a binary choice, Regan. As we know, it's anywhere from 0 to 30%. A stand-up landing in the middle of the pontoon would probably net you all 30 of those points. But contact counts. He's on it right now. Certainly there will be some credit given. The two-trick sequence was smooth. Hard to tell. I think he may have missed the water contact with the wing over
I think so.
by just inches. So I don't think he's going to crack the 70, but it should score well. I suspect it will be enough to supplant Genie Bartholomew in that #1 slot, but we will see.
Well, the scores are coming through now, Andy. Possible 9.3.83. Genie Bartholomew taking that 112.96 total currently. And Ian Bobo, his score is creeping up over the hundreds as each judge inputs their system. He got that 64.94 against Genie's 59.84 in the first round. We're going to see now what that final score is for him as it comes through. Ian Bobo, it's still being added up. We haven't got it yet. Is he going to take it? There it is. Oh, Andy, it's a low one, 42.13.
Wow, very surprising, Regan. Wow. You knew we weren't going to make it through the entire training round without some judging controversy.
Yeah.
And it waited and it waited and it waited, and finally now in the last several rounds we've seen some scores that have surprised us. I would have expected a little bit higher.
Here we go now, coming through the course. We got Chris Teague, South Africa. Looking for that Superman switchblade, Andy.
Chris Teague having a pretty decent run there. Probably a little tighter on the course than he would have preferred. However, the Superman not as laid out as I bet he would have preferred. It was still a little bit vertical, but he had a nice arch through his hips. The switchblade was short-lived, but it was there. These judges, they want to see maximum water time. That's really going to score you high points. The longer you can maintain a trick, the better in Action Zone 1 and Action Zone 2. So the switchblade, although successful, was very short-lived, and then, of course, too much momentum to stay on the pontoon sliding off the end. But, you know, I would have said one thing about 5 rounds ago, Regan, but now I'm going to put this guess into the high 30s, low 40s if he's lucky.
Well, he's passed over 40, only just 4.1.01. And his first round, Andy, was 4.1.93. He's got a total of 82.96 for South Africa. And Chris Teague.
Well, as the competitors look to adapt to the judging, so does my guessing, and I was pretty accurate on that one there in the low 40s. So Chris Teague showing some consistency. Once again, extremely excited to be here for his first go-round, first season, I should say, with Swoop Freestyle.
Indeed it is. We are here for today and tomorrow. All the action begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. with the qualification 2 rounds, and then going in to the finals at 2 o'clock, 1400. Chris Teague there, Superman switchblade, giving him a total of the 2 rounds, 82.96. Argentina, Franco DARMAN will be next, Andy. Blind man, switchblade.
So once again, almost unanimously, competitors who opt for this combination will remain backwards in the harness, doing the blind man first to the switchblade. So we will see if that trend continues with Franco DARMAN. Last time, his blind man, he kind of snapped into it, perhaps a little more jerkily than he would have preferred. Let's see if he can smooth that out with a blind man switchblade.
Here he
coming
comes
into the course right now.
A lot of power, a lot of energy, Andy. Franco DARMAN, Argentina, and he brings on round 1 a 4.5.14. Talk us through that.
Interesting, Regan. He was definitely set up tighter on the course than he would have preferred. You saw him assume that kind of stickman position, trying to make his body as big as possible, which would have slowed him down. That was his intention, to slow himself down, knowing he was going to be too tight on the course. And it looks like, I called it jerky. I don't mean to use that word as a pejorative, because it is smooth. It's just fast. He moves backwards into that blind man position very quickly, and he looked like he fumbled the controls when he attempted to go from the blind man to the switchblade, and in doing so, lost a lot of control, was not able to steer the canopy in the direction he would have liked, kind of hitting the side of the pontoon. He appears to be just fine, but it looked like he was slightly less than in control there for a moment, having missed the controls on the switchblade and had no control.
Franco Darman, Argentina. Let's have a look at the scores I've got coming through here on the system. Just been confirmed. 4-1. 0.40, 86.54. Consistent, Andy. He had a 405.14 round 1, 41.40 round 2. Claudio Cagnasso, Venezuela. First of our final 4 competitors here for the action today.
Claudio looking to show us a Cowboy Superman, which of course was his highest scoring, the highest scoring round in the finals, round 2 in Copenhagen. We keep talking about it because it was such an iconic run, going last, trying to supplant those on the podium, and it just wasn't enough. Let's see what he brings now in training. See if he's added anything to it in the area of style points that might have made the difference.
Coast Guard there turning around, some avid spectators, Andy, making their way towards the course. They've done a 180 and they're taking that boat away now from where they thought they were going to go to.
The U.S. Coast Guard on hand to assist the event, turning away boats that might obstruct the course.
Claudio begins.
Here's the end of the turn, coming
Cowboy
straight down
Superman.
the pike. There's the Cowboy, there's the Superman.
Oh, Andy, it's looking good. Stop there, stop, stop, stop. Oh, the water, the slipperiness. But wow, Claudio is looking dangerous this afternoon, Andy.
It was the same sequence, as I mentioned, Regan, that he closed out Copenhagen with. It looked fantastic, just a little bit tight. Didn't have the runway to slow down, and just by the skin of his teeth slips off the edge at the end. But it should score well. If history is any indication, I would expect this to be high 40s, low 50s.
Well, it's what we're looking for from the training round. The athlete is getting their eye in, finding the right line, finding the right distance. And the athlete from Venezuela bringing his score. It's creeping up high, Andy. It's going to be a good one. 47.37 was his score on round 1, and just waiting for the confirmation now. Is he going to get up towards that 70 points? It's just been confirmed at 67.41. More importantly, takes him to the top of the list with 114.78.
Very interesting indeed. That is much higher than I would have anticipated, but not undeserved. You know, I've said it before, I'm glad we're in here. Not easy to be a judge in these circumstances, seeing things once.
Well, our podium champions from Copenhagen, Christian Weber, Pablo Hernandez, and Travis Mills are next. Christian's bringing us a lazy boy, goal strider, Andy. This lazy boy has been costing people hard, as you know.
It has. I'll be very interested to see if that trend continues, and we'll get some input from these competitors later on as far as if what we think we're seeing is actually the case out there.
Nobody yet over the 70 points. Let's have a look at the scores right now as it stands. And we can see there, third place, Ian Bobo, 107.07. GD Bartholomew, 112.96. Claudio Cagnasso, 114.78.
Wow, look at Claudio's score round 1 to round 2, upping it by a large percentage, putting him in that #1 slot with only 3 competitors left.
Nobody yet, Andy, has passed through 70 points. It is a training round. It's only the second time these guys have been through this course. Only the second time they've had the setup. But now, above us, from Denmark, Christian Weber, being followed on camera, dives onto those front risers and begins his turn with you, Andy Marchiodi.
A little bit high, slows down the turn. Here's the final whip. Probably higher than he would have preferred.
Well, probably one of the best lazy boys we've seen.
Stays on the water longer than most, but still had that initial skip. Very difficult to judge when you should put your feet in the water. He skipped off initially, not by much, was able to regain contact with the water and maintain it, trying to max out that water time, as these judges have been very clear they want to see. And then, unfortunately, in the process, killing off a lot of speed and nowhere near the pontoon. He had no choice but to go for the Ghost Rider and try to salvage what score he could from it, coming up short of the pontoon.
Christian Weber there. His scores are coming through new. Andy, Pablo Hernandez is going to be our next athlete. I'm just looking at the sky, see if I can see him. He's got a Switchblade Ghost Rider.
This is also the combination he closed out his competition in Copenhagen with, the Switchblade Ghost Rider and his trademark clap during his Ghost Rider, demonstrating his hands are indeed nowhere near his toggles or controls.
That double clap, Andy. Double clap, clap, clap. So Christian Weber, wow, he takes only 35.09, giving him 92.39, so still up at the top. Claudio Cagnasso. Two more athletes to come. The first and second place from Copenhagen here in this training round to bring the end of the action for this afternoon. Pablo Hernandez from Spain, followed by Travis Mills, USA.
I'm very curious to see if Pablo can replicate the smoothness of his last round in Copenhagen. He did come off the water, which is what cost him. And no easy task to maintain water contact here in San Diego, as we have seen time and time again.
So the Switchblade Ghost Rider, then Travis is going to be bringing us a boomerang wing over. That's what we saw from Ian Bobo earlier. So Pablo Hernandez, first round scorer here in training of 44.96. 44.96 from a possible 93.83, possible 90.51 here, Andy.
He's calling for a straight-in approach, but he looks a little bit off the line here. Let's see if he can split those A-gates with a final strong whip. No problem getting through the A-gates. Needs to bail to toggles as he's a little bit low.
Oh, and he stops on the pontoon.
Wow.
Yeah, the crowd go wild.
Regan, Regan, they say that an amateur does something until he gets it right, and the professional does something until he cannot get it wrong.
Profound words there, Andy.
He came out of his turn low. He needed to bail to toggles before he wished he needed to. That killed a lot of his speed. However, able to salvage it, putting both a single hand into both controls, and then digging in on the water, releasing both for the Ghost Rider, and managing to stay on the pontoon. I'm very impressed with how poorly the approach was into how well he was able to salvage not only both tricks, but a landing on the pontoon.
Well, let's see if that's going to take him beyond this magical 70 points. We're waiting for his final score to come through, but in the meantime, here comes Travis Mills, Andy.
On the water right now, laying it over. Oh!
He really dipped that wing in there. He was like putting a tea bag in hot water. Bang!
Wow, Regan, he really just kind of put it down much stronger than he wishes he did. Try to get him out from under the water here. There he is. But yeah, looking for that boomerang wing over, he just slammed it down, and doing so brought his body up out of the water. Maybe dipped it too much, perhaps got some water in that end cell, but just too much input from Travis there. No chance to make it to the pontoon.
Well, Pablo Hernandez with a 6.818, giving him a total, Andy, in training of 113.14, just shy of what Claudio brought through with his Claudio Cagnasso with 1.114.78. Travis Mills, his score is coming through, but it's not going to be up there. So after the first round of training, it's all done and dusted here in San Diego.
Wow, look at these scores, Regan. We'll wait till the audience can see what we're seeing so we can communicate it clearly. But wow, some very tight competition up near the top. These competitors are going to spend all evening thinking about what's transpired here today, both with the conditions, the wind, the water, the aircraft, the watercraft, the obstacles, and the judging. And they're going to make their battle plan for tomorrow. And we have a very tight situation here in the top two.
So Travis Mills, the champion from Copenhagen, bringing through the 4.5.25 here in training. Let's have a look at the final scores from the training and see how that top five line up after the 2 rounds, the top 5 as it stands here with the training. Just waiting for those to come on the screen, those final scores now from the training.
Looks like we have 107.07 from Ian Bobo, which is good enough to put him in 3rd place. We have 112.96.
Just looking at the, we're trying to get the scores on screen, guys. Here we go. Here's the scores. 5th place, Travis Mills, 96.79. 4th place, Ian Bobo, 107.07. 3rd place, Gini Bartholomew, 112.96. Pablo Hernandez from Spain, 113.14. Claudio Ignacio, 114.78, Andy.
You can't ask for tighter scores than that, Regan. Look at that. Less than 0.2 between 3 and 2. And a little bit more than that between 2 and 1. Very interesting, very tight. Can't ask for anything more.
You can't indeed. It has been the training rounds here for the first time in San Diego, brought to you by the city of San Diego, the port of San Diego, from Siquan Casinos, iFly, and of course, Skydive San Diego. This has been the action from the first time here in San Diego with the Swoop Freestyle. Let's have a quick look at the action from Copenhagen.
Wow, Regan, I did not expect that. It looked like he was in a good position and then just suddenly leveled off a little high, missing his initial point of contact with the water. Salvaged it as best he could and actually had a quite smooth blind man. Right there, it looked like he was on the water, but just was a little bit high. Oh, it's unfortunate because the rest of the sequence was pretty smooth.
Down the side of the
We'll have to have Irish ask him what exactly occurred there. Switchblade. Ghost Rider, a double clap. And a stylized 360 backspin onto the raft.
That has to be enough to put himself in the lead. Andy, what we just saw from Pablo Hernandez from Spain, the Switchblade Ghost Rider with a double clap onto the pontoon. That has to take him past 1, 3, 4 points set by Christian Weber from Denmark.
I would imagine it would. A beautiful Switchblade held forever. A straight offhand double clap on the Ghost Rider. Clap, clap, and a 360-degree backspin onto the raft. My goodness, what else can you ask for?
Pablito Power making his way to the harbor. The story right now is in the lead. Christian Weber, 134 and change. Pablo Hernandez needed over 60 points to take the current lead is still to come. Oh, 62.44 puts him into the lead. Can Travis snatch it out of his hands?
Boomerang, wing over. Can he go? Trying to walk on water, comes up a little bit shy.
Wow, oh, Andy, the story now we've got to tell is Pablo has snatched the top place out of the hands of the local talent. The only person who could steal this away, Travis Mills, with that boomerang wing over. Actually, Claudio Cognacio, let's not forget, with a 75, could still do it as well.
Travis with the beautiful approach, beautiful boomerang, does not have simultaneous contact with body and canopy for the wing over. That's going to cost him, and of course comes up a little bit short. A young skydiver, I've watched him grow all these years, always impressive. Humble, friendly young guy. Travis Mills coming in with a 68.72.
As Travis Mills jumped ahead, I think he might have done it. Travis Mills, I think, might have jumped above Pablo. 68.72, Andy.
Wow, I'm beside myself here, Regan.
Over to me, Travis Mills. Pablo came in with a great jump. He went #1. You've officially gone #1 at Swoop Freestyle.
Oh, yeah! It's amazing, man. What a feeling. What a feeling.
We've got Claudio coming in now. Claudio needs over 75 to take you off top spot. You think you're going to do it?
He better nail it.
You heard it here, Claudio. Let's put our eyes to the skies.
142.69 from Travis. Has quickly look at the leaderboard. See what that has done. It means now we have Travis Mills in the lead. 142.69. Pablo Hernandez 136.8. Wow, Claudio Cognacio could still do it with 77 points, Andy.
Claudio going for a cowboy Superman. But Regan, I have to tell you, I'm extremely, extremely surprised.
This is it, the final run of the championships. First place right now, Travis Mills, USA. Second place, Spain, Pablo Hernandez. That's nice. This is good as well. He's on the pontoon. Oh!
To the center.
Whoa! Has Travis Mills done enough to take the championships? Has Claudio got more than 77 points? Wow!
Beautifully executed.
Pablo had it. Travis Mills came and took it out of his hand. Now Claudio could do the same if he can score a massive 77 points.
Oh, doesn't quite get the fingers in the water. Maintains water contact throughout the Superman. It's not as laid down as perhaps he would like, but does bring it to a stop right in the middle of the raft, just like the judges want. Hard to know, the judges watched in real time. They may have seen his hand touch the water.
It's down to the wire. It doesn't get any tighter than this. What's it gonna be, Andy? Has the American Travis Mills done enough? Or has the Venezuelan just ripped it out from under him? We're about to find out. Over to you, Irish.
Thank you very much. We're here with our eyes on the screen to see if Claudio got over 77. I've got Travis here with me. Claudio's coming up now. He's got a big smile. He knows he's done his best and nearly done enough to take it out. Scoreboard's coming up now. Travis, how you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing, man. Let's see it.
69.48. Travis Mills is Swoop Freestyle Champion 2018 Copenhagen. Travis, come here to me. How do you feel, buddy?
Wow, what a dream come true, man. It's my 3rd year here, first time on the podium. Feels pretty amazing, man. I'm on cloud 9 right now.
Missed it last year and came back and took it out. You must feel amazing.
Oh, amazing, man. Did some hard training this year and it paid off. Super stoked. Want to say hi to Alexia. I miss you, babe. Wish you were here.
Beautiful, mate. We're going to go back to the studio and get ready for the medal ceremony.
Wow, what a tense moment that was, building up the tension for that final result. Travis Mills is absolutely over the moon, Andy.
Travis Mills snatching victory from the jaws of defeat after Pablo Hernandez laid down what we thought was a virtually unbeatable run. Travis Mills comes in with his boomerang wing over, winning the hearts of the judges.
Oh, wow, let's keep our eyes for a moment on the reactions of these champions. Claudio Cagnacio could not do it. Christian Weber was there at the top holding it for Copenhagen. Pablo came in, he needed more than 60 points. He blew it away, and the final result, 5th place, Franco DARMAN, 128.53. 4th place, Claudio Cagnacio, 128.26. 3rd place, Christian Weber, 134.31. 2nd, Pablo Hernandez, 136.80. And Travis Mills, 142.69. Andy.
Claudio Cagnacio giving a valiant effort in his final run to get the score needed to put him on the podium. But despite his best efforts coming up a little bit short, hometown hero Christian Weber stoked to be on the podium here in Copenhagen.
Wow, that's it from there. We're going to go down to Irish with the award ceremony.
Thank you very much. For the award ceremony for Swoop Freestyle 2018 Copenhagen, in 3rd place, the local legend, Christian Weber! In 2nd place, Pablo Hernandez! And the winner of Swoop Freestyle 2018 Copenhagen, please give it up for Travis Mills! Yeah, buddy! Yeah!
Incredible reaction there from Travis Mills as he takes that gold medal.
And for your winner, Travis Mills, please be upstanding for the national anthem of the United States of America. One last time, people of Copenhagen, people at home, please give it up for your Swoop Freestyle 2018 champion, Travis Mills!
Swoop Freestyle FAI World Championship 2018 Copenhagen is wrapped. So Travis Mills taking the first leg of the championships in Copenhagen. 2 rounds of the training under the belt here. Andy, your initial thoughts?
Well, Regan, these competitors, of course, have their hands full with a new set of conditions, both on the water and in the air. We've seen a lot of trouble with competitors maintaining water contact through their tricks I'll be interested to see the adjustment they make, not only concerning that, but what they've seen with the judging. Does that play into their decision? Overall, like what I've seen here today.
We'll be back tomorrow with the first round of the qualifying here in San Diego and Swoop Freestyle. But for me, Regan, Tetlow, and Andy, we'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m.